Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of TerraVentures. We're up onto episode 55 and as you can see behind me, as I stare into a big sand pile, we've made ourselves quite a reasonable amount of progress on our boat. Where's my first person? There we go. I'm always getting all these keys mixed up as I'm playing on keyboard. I always think F1 is my changing vision and F5, which is actually, F5 gets rid of the hotbar on the bottom. But anyway, enough of my keyboard problems. Looking at this boat, we're sort of getting there. We've got ourselves a sort of a wall here, but we're really struggling on how to get this bit to curve down nicely. I'm not entirely certain that it is actually as good as it looks to be, because down here we've got ourselves a we've got a lot of water, but we also need to make sure that this bit here curves nice and gently from around here and into the bow of the boat. So what we should do today is work on this quite a bit and then work on the rest of this boat, the masts, all the decking, removing the water in here so it doesn't flood, and all sorts of things needed to make the boatload of progress that we need to today. Alrighty, we've made quite a bit of progress. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to make this wall, but we've managed to get ourselves a fair bit down and taper it nicely. I think this would be quite nice. What I'm thinking is having a couple of cannons here and possibly down here as well. I'm not entirely certain. What we also want to do is ring this side with what do you call these, stairs, both jungle and oak, of course. Now the biggest problem I'm going to have at the moment is trying to figure out how I taper this into this nicely. I'm not entirely certain. Maybe I need to bring this a little bit further faster. And then of course I need to work out how to do this into this. So that shouldn't take too long, hopefully. So let's get into it and let's start this taper from here into here. I'm continuing work on this, and if we just pedal ourselves or bring ourselves across to here, we can splash down and see the front of the boat isn't perfect. It definitely isn't the same on the left as it is on the right, or vice versa, although it looks pretty close now that I think about it. I've done my best to try and make it somewhat identical, and as you can see I'm actually missing a block right here. There we go, that looks better. But anyway, even the left and the right is still a little bit off, which is just a little bit disappointing, but in trying to make this look good I need to make a little bit different here. So what I think I should do first is figure out a template to get this up like this, and I think for now I'll just do the simple rising up and we'll see how we go. If it's perfect, which it looks it will not be, then we are good. But yes, this isn't going to go as well as I thought. So if I go like that, it isn't going to work. I just need to go like that for it to work perfectly. So instead of doing that, I think what I should do instead is go 2 down here and then go in. No, actually that's 3 there. If I go 2 here, 1 here. Where's that? Where's it drowned? Ah, there he is. There he is. Perfect. So anyway, so if we get back to this, if we go 2, maybe, and then we go 1 down instead of 1 up, 1 down, and then we bring ourselves in, and there. Something like that is almost perfect. Just a little bit annoying how this works out, but still quite a bit of work to do. So as I work this out, I'll bring you more updates. Well, it took a little bit of time, well, not just a little bit, a lot of time, but I think I've finally gotten the hull of this ship done. Now, these bits were a little bit annoying, and it's probably not as good as I'd like, but it's okay, it's done. And obviously, if you look at the front, this bottom half looks somewhat okay. It's obviously not even. You can see there's a little bit of a bulge here, more square, whereas this is a little bit more rounded, but I can't at the moment. Well, I could be bothered, but at the moment since I've spent so much time on this, let's just get rid of this guy. I spent so much time on this trying to get it right that I think I'm going to move on to the rest of the build. Now for that, we're going to have to firstly drain everything that's in here, and for that I think I'll get some dirt or sand or just lots of falling blocks that are pretty easy to get rid of, and then we can get work started on the other things. But we're going to have to put a couple of masts in, to maybe 3 masts. We'll build it to end this bit here, and of course we're not going to do it all today. So dump off this wood, get the 3 or 4 shulker boxes worth of sand / gravel / other things that we need, and get started on draining this ship. Actually, now that I think about it, sponges would be better. Now the question is, do I have sponges around here? Now I'm gonna have to be careful because I'm pretty sure I put them in here. I'm not entirely certain. That is a big relief there. Just that the fact that the sponges are in here is going to really help. So let's dump off these shulker boxes in no particular order once again. Put the precious chest back into the shulker box. So the precious shulker box back into the ender chest, and this should be okay to get draining, hopefully. Now I'm going to have to be careful with this, because the last thing I want to do is to do a sponge and then it just gets splashed straight back. So that worked okay. So if we do one here, okay, that's not going to work. So what we have to do now is partition this thing, perhaps using that sand or gravel that we put away, and then start getting rid of this thing. Now I reckon segments of 5 apiece should do it very nicely. Now hopefully we get this done pretty quickly, but a nice falling block is good here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so the next one goes here, and as this goes down pretty quickly, we should be very careful here. It's going to be a pretty slow process. Hopefully we've got enough sand and sponges to finish this off, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. So let's finish this off, let's drain this, and then we can finally get started on both the interior and other things related to do with this ship. Okay, so now this thing has been fully drained out. You can see the shape of it's probably not as perfect as I'd like, but we can work around that. So now what we want to do is work out where we want the masts, and I did do a little bit of testing. What I'm thinking is one around here, which that's centered, and then perhaps 120 or so blocks this way, say around here, and then one around here. That's probably not as even as it could be. And you can see not centered, but that should work. Now the other thing I want to do as well is build up the captain's quarters, I suppose. And I'm thinking if we go 5 blocks here, so we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we build that up on this side, and the same on this side. This was 6, 8, 4, 1. So if we go over to here and say 8, 4, 1 on this side, something like that, we have staircase over here, and over here, 1, 2, 3, there, and something like that. So if we have a staircase that goes up and around to the, well, I'm not sure what it's called, the poop deck, behind where the steering wheel and everything is. Now, there's, say, yeah, something like that should do work. Then the captain's quarters, we'd have something in the middle here and doors leading into this rather spacious area down here. Now the other thing I also am thinking of is that these masts, which I've now marked out, which are exactly the same distance apart, are a little bit thin for the size of the ship they are. If you just have a single pole like this, say, if we go up like that, it's probably just a little bit too thin. I can't have 2 or a square one like this, because this ship is built along a 1 wide center, not a 2 wide center. How can I get that block right? Now if I did 3, however, it's probably too big. So it's a bit of a problem here. I'm not entirely certain what I can do to fix that. And if we do 3, like that, then again, I'm not sure. So if I build this up a little bit and do the same with the middle one, I can then see how it looks from land, I think. So let's go like this. And the other thing is I'm probably going to need a lot more wood if I use the 3 wide. So that may or may not be a consideration. So we're just going to go a little bit more. And then the same here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And fly over here. Or drift over here, glide over here. And see which one looks better. Now for the big reveal. 1 or 3. The 3 one looks a bit too wide. The 1 looks a bit small. And I can't really have 2, which is a big dilemma. But this bit over here looks fine, so I guess we'll figure it out as we go. I've been working on this for a little bit now, and I've decided to go back to the original 1 wide masts. I think it's just a little bit better and gives a little bit more room to maneuver. It just looks a bit better. As you can see, I've also been working on this, and this is the second reason why I'm going for the thinner masts. It's because if you're standing here, or say here, you can actually see past the mast and into the distance, whereas if the masts were bigger, then you'd have to go a lot further out, and that would not be good. Now, there's a little bit more I'd like to do today before we wrap up, and that's not fall off the boat. Let's get up. It is working on the secondary deck. So I'm trying to decide if it should be at this level or at this level. And it is rather important, because if it's at this level, then there's only 3 high here. And is this block necessary? No, it's not. So if it's only 3 high here, we do get a lot of room, and it does mean we can fire some things out here pretty easily. Where's that block? But it does mean that the low here is pretty big. On the downside, if we have this one, it means that this block all the way around here is going to be the same. It's going to be there for a large part of the deck, and it does mean that we'd lose quite a bit of space. So I'm not quite certain which way to go yet. I'm thinking of the first one, but we're going to have to do a little bit of investigation as to which side would be better. Hopefully you can actually see this. I'm not sure how it comes across on the screen, but anyway, as you can see, I've come up with the first deck over here, and it's looking pretty good. It's actually pretty well lit, because right above here is the light, of course. It looks really, really dark at night. However, there is a couple more things I would like to do here. I'm thinking of the second deck to go at this level, and everything below that might or may not be filled with something else. I'm not yet certain. So the first deck would be possibly the cannon deck, where they'd have cannons on here, a fighting deck essentially, and maybe living quarters. The second deck might be something else. I'm not yet certain of everything. I've not been on one of these kind of ships before, so I'm really not certain exactly what goes on what. And then on the first deck, on the primary deck, I suppose, as you can see, I've outfitted the masts with the bottom part of the where the sails are attached to, and this of course will have some cannons and other bits. I've also put in a bit of a captain's quarters, I suppose, although this block shouldn't be here. I've put in the door, some strip logs, and it's all rather quiet back here. I haven't really done much yet with it, though I think I might do that off camera. Now what I'm thinking of to get to the second deck is a bit of a staircase here. So around this mast here, around this back half, I'm thinking if we do a 5 wide staircase, and that should be enough room to bring us down quite safely to the second level, then the first level I should say, then on the second level I'm going to do the same on this side between these 2 masts. So that should be okay. And for the staircase, I'm thinking of using dark oak, because the idea being that this is a rather well-trod part, so it's going to be all dark and well used. So if we do that here and continue along like this, it's probably not the best looking staircase in the world, and I am of course making all my mistakes as usual. But it isn't the best looking staircase in the world, but it will serve its purpose. Now the other thing I'm thinking of as well is that below deck is going to get rather stuffy, especially with this being the only air, and what we'd also want to do is possibly cover this thing up just in case where there's a storm and we don't want water getting in. So what I'm thinking is along this side is we're going to not just open like this, we're going to leave a bit of an air hole, and for that we're going to use dark oak fences so it looks kind of like a patterned grill. So we want to center it unlike what we did over there. So we've got 17, I think. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and leave that there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that leaves us 6 there, 5 there. So it really should be there. And then that's not a very big hole. So if we go 5, what we really want a 5 by 5 hole, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then something simple like this should do nicely. And of course we can walk on top of it since we are above the fence. I'm not sure how this is going to look below decks, but we shall see in a second. Plus it also leaves a little bit of light in as well, and that's something that we need down here, natural light instead of just the stuffy lantern light. And looking at that, that actually looks pretty okay. So that is quite a improvement, I reckon. Where's there it is. And I think I'll keep that there. This may seem a little bit random, but I've just decided to come back into here and build just a little bit more. And no, I'm not going to do that. But I did see that the back of these things tend to have windows for some reason. So I decided to come in and put some glass in. Now, it isn't exactly right, you can see there, but it is pretty good. Now put that there. No, that's not what I want. I want a spruce wood block. But anyway, what we should do here is pretty simple. We're putting in grey stained glass because the theory being that the wood is all rotten and everything. Or it's not. That's not the word I'm looking for. It is all used and everything. And therefore it's weather, that's the word I'm looking for. It's all weathered and everything, and therefore the wood is just a little bit, the glass especially hasn't been cleaned in ages and it's just looking a little bit worse for wear. That's the theory behind having all this here. Now what I really should do is change all these into wood, because I don't want any bare logs like this showing. I want it to be all nice and smooth, so we might have to do a little bit of and looking at the ship now, at least the back of the ship, I think that looks a lot better. It's certainly better than having just solid pieces of wood there. I'm not certain if I should do the same here. I probably won't. And you may notice as well, I've decided to strip all these logs back so they're just the plain log instead of the one with the bark on top of it. And I think that makes it look a little better. I'm probably not going to do the same to these because I want it to look a little bit more rough. So that is there. Now off camera I've also decided to put in the caps of these, as in a sense, because these ones are the normal log. Did I drop that somewhere? Yes, I did. These are the normal logs, whereas these are the wood, I think it's called. So that makes it look as good as well. I haven't done the same on the tops of these yet, mainly because I think I want these to go a little bit taller than they currently are. So the ship is looking pretty good right now, although there's still quite a lot of progress to go. However, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to finish this thing, because as I record this, it is the 18th of June, as I am right where I am now, and Minecraft, or Mojang, has just announced the new Nether update. Now, you may not have noticed, but we've had a few new people joining the server in the recent days, most particularly Bluestone Mystic, and that is in preparation for our new season, which will be starting very, very soon. We have decided to change this new season from Season 2, which is the current one, into this new season, Season 3, on when the Nether update comes around. So, since that Nether update is now announced, we can start getting ready for that. So in the next couple of days you will see a new video on all the happenings that are going to be doing for Season 3, because we are going to be doing something very interesting, something a little bit different, something certainly that should start with a lot more collabs, and I'm going to be doing a short video explaining all the things that I'm going to be doing as the administrator of the server, all the things that, all the add-ons, all the new players and whatnot. But for one final hurrah, let's just kill off every single animal that we've got around here. I think it's going to be nice, since we don't need these animals anymore. We certainly do not need to keep them lagging up the server, so let's just kill every single one of these, not with the bow, but with the sword. And so yes, so keep watching out for that video. It's going to be epic, I believe, and we certainly are going to be having a lot more fun in the new season when it comes out, which probably might start next Saturday, or at least I release these things Saturday my time, so it might be a Friday your time, I'm not sure, but hopefully you enjoy the video when it comes out, and the start of the new season, which is going to be epic. And with all the passive mobs signed or killed off, I bid you good day. It has been very fun playing in Season 2, watching, and it's certainly been the longest season I've ever done. This is obviously the 55th episode, and I've done a couple of, I think I've done a few streams in the middle of that, so probably around 55 to 60 episodes all up. So, and I think it's been about a year or so, or maybe 9 months, nearly 9 months since we started this entire adventure. So I just want to say thank you very, very much for watching, putting up with my voice and my building skills and all that. It's certainly been quite an adventure. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon in Season 3. And that wasn't good, I just got disconnected and wonder why. Anyway, that's not a very good end, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. Keep watching out for Season 3. Goodbye!